A midlife crisis is more than just a cultural stereotype. It's a real psychological struggle that can surface between the ages of 40 and 60. Often triggered by aging, loss, or unmet expectations, it can actually lead individuals to question their identity, make impulsive choices, or abruptly abandon long term commitments. While not officially classified yet as a mental illness, the emotional and relational fallout is very real, especially for the spouses and families left behind. This podcast gives voice to those living through the aftermath, exposing the hidden pain, and seeking accountability, healing, and understanding. Thank you for joining us today on MLC Bomb Drop and Beyond. The stories and events discussed in this podcast are for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or professional advice. Any names, locations, or identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or real events are purely coincidental. The information presented on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with a qualified expert regarding any decisions related to your specific situation. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the podcast creators. Hey, welcome to MLC Bomb Drop and Beyond. Today, I'm speaking to you, the one in crisis, the one in midlife crisis. As we know, MLC is not a punchline, it's an identity earthquake. And earthquakes expose bedrock, and that bedrock can become the foundation of the life you truly want. Over the next few minutes, we're going to decode why your brain feels hijacked and sift shame from signal and hand you a concrete action that you can before you hit stop. No judgment, just clarity and a way forward. Please note, this episode is educational and not a substitute for therapy or medical care. So first of all, what is going on in your head with this brain fog? Dopamine dips, testosterone or estrogen shifts, cortisol spikes. Your chemistry screams for novelty. The roles you've worn as a parent, a partner, a provider, they no longer answer that question that's pounding and pounding inside your head. Who am I when no one's watching? Who am I? Who do I want to be? That's the question. You know, billboards promise salvation in a convertible, new condo, a secret romance, all external changes that feel a lot easier than internal excavation. But it's that internal excavation that is going to really set the stage for who you want to be and for your next chapter. Beneath every impulsive purchase or secret DM is a simple distress call. And that is, wake me up because my life doesn't fit anymore. Good news here is that this can be decoded, and we're going to talk about that right now because we truly want you to become the authentic you. Your psyche is trying to grow, but old defenses grip tight. The clash shows up as affairs or big expensive purchases, completely things out of your character, leaving your spouse and family just completely blindsided. Like, what is going on here? We know you feel guilty and giddy at the same time. That's normal. Shame says you're awful, awful. And, you know, maybe your old life was just, maybe you outgrew it. That can happen, and it's time to really address that. So now you've got the time to do that. Even if you've burned bridges, your brain can rewire if you pair accountability with self-compassion. As Dr. Lena Park says, freedom isn't flight, it's alignment. Think about that. Maybe write that down. Freedom isn't flight, It's alignment. You can keep flying and never get aligned, and you'll still be in crisis years and years from now. So, time to turn inward. I'm gonna give you some prompts in a little bit. Those prompts are gonna be, when did you last feel genuinely alive? What exactly are you running from? And what tiny action could you do to honor your values this week? So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I'll tell you a little story about, we'll call him John Doe. At 48 years old, John ghosted his marriage. Total vanisher. Traded the minivan for a sports bike and moved into a rented condo with a floor-to-ceiling windows, no furniture. For 6 months, he lived like that. The echoing rooms felt like freedom. He felt young again. But by month 7, the emptiness started to hum louder than the engine on that bike. One night, as he scrolled through old photos, camping trips, toddlers' birthdays, he wept so hard his chest cramped. Not because he wanted the past back, but because he realized he never really bothered to ask what future he actually wanted. He never really envisioned a future. And I know that sounds crazy, but people get so busy on the little hamster wheel of life that does happen. You just keep going from A to B to C to D to E to F, just going, and you don't really take time to pause and think, wait, where's this hamster wheel going? So now you've got the time to do that. John, he hadn't really thought about what future he wanted, but his first repair wasn't a grand gesture, just a little tiny step. He texted his teenage daughter he said, "Hey, hon, no agenda. I just want to hear how you're doing." Took him just a few text characters to crack the concrete wall that he had started to build around himself. Today, John is still divorced, but he's figuring things out. And more importantly, he's really present in his life. And the echo in his condo has finally been replaced by conversation and a little bit of furniture. So, moral of the story is your next chapter won't be written by a U-turn to the past, and it's not going to be a turbo boost towards fantasy, but it will be written by the smallest, honest act that you choose today. Remember, this is your life, and you are in control of it, and you can make those changes and improvements. Got some little questions for you. So, okay. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Maybe, just 5 or 10 minutes. Really simple. I'm going to read out some prompts on the next page. 3 little prompts, real simple. Be honest with yourself. This is so important. Just be honest with yourself. No one else is going to see this unless you choose to share. You can write it. Ideally, you should write it down. You can do bullet points, sketch it, single words, anything goes. Write an essay, write a song. But when finished, look for patterns or surprises in your answers. Pick one small action that you can take this week to honor what you wrote. And then revisit this worksheet in a month to see how your compass has shifted and to see if what you thought mattered still does, All right. If you are if you're home and have access to a pen and paper, you can write this down. If you're driving, just come back to it later. Or maybe if you have good memory, it's only 3 little questions and you can think about it while driving. Just be safe. All right. Question number 1. When did you last feel genuinely alive? So when did you last feel genuinely alive? This could have been before your crisis. This could be during your crisis. But when you think about genuinely alive, you want to think, okay, I was authentic as well. So authentically, genuinely alive. Think about that. All right. I'm going to repeat it so you can write it down. Again, when did you last feel most genuinely and authentically alive? Prompt number 2. What exactly are you running from? Think about that. What are you running from? What made you, create an earthquake? and leave all your friends and family. Like, what were you running from? Think about that. Write that down, please. Like, think about it. And then, what tiny action could honor your values this week without blowing up more bridges? Again, what tiny action could honor your values this week? One tiny little action. That's all it is. And you know what? If you do one tiny little action, once a week, once a month, it's all those little baby steps that can put you towards your next chapter, your most authentic future. Because that's what everybody should be living, is their authentic self. I'm going to repeat these prompts again, a little more, in real time, so that you just so you have a little summary. So, number 1, when did you last feel most genuinely, authentically alive? Number 2, what exactly are you running from? And number 3, what tiny action could honor your values this week? So, thanks for joining us today on MLC Bomb Drop and Beyond. We know you're in crisis. We know you're in pain. We know you feel shame and guilt and, all the things that come with that. That's horrible. But just know your friends and family love you. Everybody wants the best for you. And, our next guest is going to be I can't say she'll be the next guest, but a future guest in the next week or so she's a woman that's in midlife crisis, and she wants to come on the show and tell us about her situation and how she's navigating the storm. So if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe, and you can check us out on MLC Bomb Drop on Facebook and Instagram, and reach out to me anytime. And thanks for joining us today. All right, guys, stay awesome. Thanks. Bye. Thanks again, you guys, for tuning in to Midlife Crisis Bomb Drop and Beyond. We have reached nearly 10,000 downloads. We have hundreds of subscribers, if not over 1,000. You guys, forward moving spouses, you are not alone. Left behind spouses, you are not alone. Those in crisis, you are certainly not alone. This is just crazy how epidemic this has become. I have a waiting list now of people from around the world that I'm trying to get to. And if you've been through a midlife crisis or been impacted by someone else's and you want to share your story, I'd love to hear from you. Hang in there, you guys. I will get to all of you. Please reach out to me at mlcbombdrop@gmail.com and visit us on Facebook and Instagram, MLC Bomb Drop. And just remember, your voice matters. Your story could be the one that helps someone else feel seen. It could help someone else feel heard. And it will help somebody else feel understood. You are not alone, no matter where you are in your journey. If the bomb was just dropped, the earthquake just happened, if you are 7 or 8 years in and you're coming out of starting to wake up and awaken to this, you are not alone. It's sad that this is epidemic, but we're here to provide support. So until next time, take care and live authentically each and every day. Thanks again, you guys.